The cynical comedian Groucho Marx once said, "Before I start, I have something important to say." So, after months of research, this is how I would define humor. Humor is the creative energy released in our brains in response to conflict or contradiction. In other words, it is nature's formula for conflict resolution and creative problem solving. Contradictions and conflicts are an inherent part of life, and nature made sure to empower us with some extraordinary tools to deal with them. Otherwise, we'd all be depressed, nervous wreck anxiety cases.
Always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the right side of life.
So our inclination to be optimistic is one evolutionary mechanism for coping with a harsh reality. But what else did nature give us? Well, you guessed it, humor. Humor is a function of two or more mismatches, discrepancies, perceptions, contradictions, expectations, disparities, call it what you want, conflicting ideas. Even silly wordplays make us chuckle because our brains interpret them in contradictory ways.
This is one of my son's favourite jokes. A bear walks into a bar and he says to the barman, "Can I have an orange juice, please? And a packet of crisps." And the barman says, "Why the big pause?"
And most jokes work the same way. We expect a certain outcome, and to our surprise, it turns out to be different. The result is a giggle, chuckle, amusement, or even laughter. Scientists call it mirth. But in plain terms, it's good old-fashioned humor. But in order to live a well-balanced life, we need our inner cynic to live in relative harmony with the optimist in our brain, despite their disagreement. Humor helps us achieve that. Take this joke as an example. It was voted funniest in the UK, but I heard it several times at my bar in Tel Aviv, so it must be quite universal. A woman gets on the bus with her baby. The driver says, "Now that's the ugliest baby I've ever seen. Ugh." She goes to the back of the bus fuming. She says to a man next to her, "The driver just insulted me." The man says, "Now you go right up there and tell him off. I'll hold the monkey for you." So why do we find this joke funny? Well, at least if told the right way. The cynic in us sees things as they are and wants to speak out. It is indeed one ugly baby, and it wants to say it out loud, but that's not a proper way to act in a polite society. So we keep our mouths shut or simply entertain the amusing thought in our heads. Either way, humor acts to resolve the conflict between how we want to act and how we ought to act. And the British tradition of mocking history, politicians, and proper behavior in comedy like Monty Python, Blackadder, Yes Minister, Till Death Do Us Part, and more, is full of such examples that highlight the contrast between the real and the ideal worldviews. So, on a final note, I'd like to make a suggestion to the world. Much like sports that serves to release physical aggressive energy, humor is the release of creative mental energy. Humor is sports for our brains. It's the art of creative problem solving and of conflict resolution. Having said that, I think humanity can employ humor on a much more productive scale. So I suggest that next year in London, we'll hold the world's first Humor Olympics in honor of the inherent conflicts in our lives. And even if the jokes are deemed to be too ethnic and rude at times, it's all okay in my book, as long as it's done for the sake of humor. The alternative, I believe, is much worse. So let's use humor for what nature intended it to be. And at the end of the day, the world would be a friendlier place to live in. Cheers!
Get up, it's a beautiful morning. It's time to be on your feet. Your smile will light up your day, so you better be on your way. Enjoy this beautiful morning. There are people you want